Hello, people. Good afternoon, wherever you're joining from. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Let me see if I can read the chat. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. We're about starting today's session, and it's 3 o'clock. Yes, good afternoon, Grace. Good afternoon, Grace Chama Musa. Good afternoon, Akinlabi. Good afternoon, Diana. Good afternoon, Joseph, Zainab. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon to those also joining us on YouTube. Good afternoon. Sorry, I may not be able to open the YouTube link for now, but I will open it soon. Today is going to be an interesting session, hopefully, with these teachers that I have on board with me. And we're going to be learning from each other. I'll learn from you, you learn from me, because there are experiences we need to share. But in the chat box, how many of you can still reflect on yesterday's teaching? Can you tell me how many of you reflected on yesterday's teaching? Can you tell me a major line that got to you from yesterday's session with Peace Bamidele? Can I just see it in the chat box? Can I see it in the chat? In the chat rooms? Oh, stress. Thank you. Thank you, Rakia. Beautiful. Peace Bamidele spoke about extensively on stress. Do things differently and do different things. Grace, I can't forget that. In fact, I posted it on my status after the class. The 3 T's, Diana, awesome. The 3 T's. Please, Diana, can you tell us the 3 T's? I know somebody has mentioned one. Time, talent, good. Zainab said time. Just said time and talent. And your triggers, good. The 3 T's. The triggers, the time, and your talent. Beautiful, beautiful. Yesterday was a wow session. I'm telling you, yesterday isn't just meant for certain people, it's meant for all of us. Whether you're a business person, that was emotional intelligence, how to manage emotions, how to manage yourself, how to ensure that you have the best output. And today, we're just going to be building on that. We'll be building on yesterday's class and, go on. Akilabi said, I should know what triggers me, plan for tasks to do, and continuously improve on myself. Akilabi is like you are summarizing what today's class is going to be all about, what today's class is going to be all about. Okay, so we've got about 3 minutes more. Let me then read the speaker's profile. I still have to read the speaker's profile, I guess, So primarily, let me just read the speaker's profile. Our speaker for today is okay. In the chat box, can I guess? Who can guess? Let me read the chat box. Who is the speaker for today? Can you guess the speaker? Our speaker for today is who? I know the name has also been posted on your WhatsApp group, but I still need to read it out. So, who has an idea who our speaker for today is? Okay, Lawa said Mr. Olasomi. All right, you are correct, Lawa. So let me read his profile. Ayodeji Olasomi is a highly experienced leadership intelligence course trainer with a strong academic background. He holds a bachelor's degree in English education and a master's degree in English language from the esteemed University of Lagos, Nigeria. Throughout his career, Ayodeji has made significant contributions in various sectors, including education and the church. He is widely recognized as the founder of the annual Lagos Praise event, a prayer walk that brings the community together in a spirit of unity and faith. Additionally, he is the driving force behind the Leadership with Olasomi initiative, which aims to empower individuals through leadership development. As the CEO of Olasomi Home Tutors, Ayodeji oversees a range of educational services, including tutoring, coaching, consulting, and training. He previously served as the administrative director of that university and he currently holds the role of executive director at LIBL Academy. Please, in the chat room, can you please welcome Mr. Ayodeji? Let's celebrate him. Let's celebrate him. Let's encourage him. Let's encourage him. Mr. Ayodeji Olasom. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome, sir. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome too. Okay, so I'm not leaving myself out. At least I'm encouraged. Now I've been welcomed and properly welcomed. Let's see if we can start today. So my humble self will be taking the class. Let's see what we can learn. And I want to see how I can do it so that I'm reading your charts at the same time, because I want, I want it to be as engaging as possible. You see, today's topic is something we are familiar with. So today we want to learn reflective teaching. Reflective teaching. The topic is actually reflective teaching. How we use reflective teaching to improve teachers' competence, your competency level, how reflective practice can help you improve teachers' practice. So let me read the introduction. As you can see, please, can you see my slides? Can you see the slides? So thank you. I can see the charts. I can see the chart. Can you see the slide, the slides? Oh, thank you. Thank you for that feedback. So I know that I am not alone. I'm not alone in this, so we can keep the work going. All right. So reflective teaching is a powerful practice that empowers educators to continuously improve their craft. By reflecting on their experiences, teachers can give valuable insight, enhance student learning, and foster their own professional growth. Let me begin this teaching. I've read the introduction to you, what's in the slide. Let me begin this teaching by telling you what reflective practice is. And I want to say it with this popular quote that you're familiar with, and I want you to say it with me wherever you are. As a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. Can you say it after me? Can you type it in a chat? As a man thinketh, so is he. Or you can say, as I think, so I am. You are a product. I want to see in the chat box. I want to be sure we are together. As a man thinketh, so is he. And that also encapsulates. Thank you, Gedengbe. Yes. Thank you, Salami. Thank you, Rakia. Thank you, Diana. Yes. As I think, so am I. Zainab, yes, I can see your chart. A man's thinking is a reflection of himself. So what you think of is what defines you eventually, is what we see outside. It's what determines your actions most of the times. So when we are talking about reflective thinking or teaching, so reflective teaching can be called reflective thinking. It can be called reflective practice. It can be called reflective, critical reflection. So it could be called any of those things, just depending how, whichever one you see or you come across. In fact, this concept, permit me to tell you that this concept was first introduced by John Dewey in 1933. This word reflective. Reflective teaching, the term reflective teaching was first introduced by John Dewey in 1933 in his book. I want you to know that when you are done teaching, when you are teaching, there is a need. What reflection is about, I want to bring it in a simple term. I know you've read the teaching, you've read what's in the slide. But what reflection is the ability of a teacher to go back and ponder on a class. The ability of a teacher to go back and think on a class. So what do you think about your class? You think about your delivery, you think about the engagement, you think about the methodology, you think about the evaluation. It's a way of evaluating your class. Reflective teaching is a way of evaluating your class. That's why I say, as a man thinketh. Some people don't think. And you can see it becomes evident even in their words when they speak. Those who do not think, it becomes evident in their speech. You could see they just talk carelessly, they just speak anyhow. Why? Because they don't think. Because they don't think. So what reflective teaching does is that it helps you to have a self-assessment or evaluation. Oh. Sorry about that. That's from my end. I had to connect with another device. Okay, so what some people do is that they don't reflect, they don't do a self-evaluation of their classes. You've taught, and then you just go, do you understand? Everybody say, yes, yes, ma. And then you go, and then that's the end of the class. As a teacher, if you must improve in your classes, then you must practice reflective thinking. Of course, there are different models of reflective thinking, like theories. Different people who have come up with styles of reflections, models, how you can reflect. We have the Gibbs reflective circle, we have Cobb's experiential learning, we have Scone's method. So for the Gibbs, I'm just going to run that through because that's not the main thing, but I just have to make reference to that. So Gibbs focuses on describe, feel, evaluate, conclude, plan. It's a structured approach to reflecting on teaching experience. A structured approach. You see, the thing about reflection is that it's an intentional way of thinking. So you don't just think about it. And so there are certain things you put in place. It must be structured. And as you go on, you will realize and you will understand that reflection is not just done after the class alone. Okay? So this reflective thinking or practice is not a phenomenon you engage in after your class only. As we go on, we will understand that. For Cobb's experiential learning, he said experience, reflect, think. You know how some people say that experience is the best teacher. So sometimes this model tends to believe that when you are done teaching, experiences can help you improve better, improve in your classroom delivery, in your teaching pedagogy. So it's a cyclical model that emphasizes learning through hands-on experiences. And I know some people may practice that method. It's possible that we have a few people here who practice that. Skills, reflection, reflect in action, and reflect on action, considering teaching in the moment and after the effect. And this is good. So the three models are very essential. And that's why I said as we go on, you will realize that reflection is not just done after teaching. Reflection is done during and after teaching. So how do you reflect? How do you reflect? I know that some of you, I'm going to read some analogies for you here. I know some of you like same style. This is what I've been doing. You know, we have some of us when we're in school, when we're in secondary school, primary school, or whatever level, you have some teachers who take pride in how long they've been teaching, not necessarily how well they've evolved over the years. You can be teaching for a long time and not be evolving, which is what I'm going to end my teaching of today with about having Toffler's quote that says that the illiterate of the 21st century, the 21st century's illiterate are not those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay? Those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. There are some people who take pride in how long they've been teaching, not necessarily how well, how adaptive they've been over the years in the course of their teaching. So some of you may fall into this category. And I want to say it in the chat box before I begin to read the reflective teaching strategies. Okay? And then we'll talk about it. So I'm going to read some, and I'll give you some scenarios. People, just short scenarios. When I read yours, please, I want to hear. So this is the overly ambitious teacher. This teacher comes to class. He said, today we are going to cover 10 chapters. Please, if just be honest, the purpose of this is that this is reflective. So the whole essence is that we want to be able to reflect. So the teacher who comes to class and says, we're going to cover 10 topics today. All of you bring out your book. I don't care what's going to happen. We're going to read 10 chapters. They are concerned about speed. So the overly ambitious teacher. Today we cover 10 chapters. And the students say, oh, sir, this is too much. And they said, no. We will cover it. I don't care. Nobody's going out. You're not going out for break. But then the teacher reflected later and said, oh, actually, because some people are all about, let me finish the syllabus. I must finish it. And this happens a lot in the university or higher institution, where you see lecturers, because of time constraints, they want to finish the syllabus. They're not really impacted. So everybody just like, and like what many of us have experienced, especially in the Nigerian institutions, it is when exam is a week to the exam. I mean, when your exam is a week, that you see many materials. When exam is just a week ahead, that's when you see many materials that you have not seen in your life will just resurface. And lecturers expect, and they will scare you and say, look, if you don't read it, that's a problem. This is coming out. But let's come to you. I want to come to you. Because nobody now is saying that they belong to the overly ambitious teacher. Those who want to finish 10 syllabus or 10 chapters or 3 topics in one class. In a 40-minute class, you want to finish 3 topics because you're trying to finish syllabus. Are you like that? Well, if you are, this is for you. So, but I want to say it in the chat box so that at least I know that I have the right sort of people here who want to learn. I want to bring another set of people here. The I know it all teacher. I don't need lesson plans. I know my stuff. So these are people who don't prepare. And like I said, I've seen this play out a lot, especially with the experience, and I use it in quotes, experienced teachers who have been teaching for long. Teachers who have been teaching for longer, so they are not adding new materials. It's the same content that they've been delivering for the past 5 years. That's the same content they are teaching. So I know it all, teacher. I don't need lesson plans. And then somebody is asking, please, can you explain this concept again? That's when it dawns on them and say, oh, maybe I need to write down some of these ideas. Are you like that? The kind of teacher who does not believe in lesson planning. You don't write lesson plan. Everything is in your head. Of course, it's possible for you to be mentally competent, but you need to be able to write down certain things. And I'm not saying that everybody here is holy. Nobody wants to be tagged. But I know that there are cases here, because these are cases that I also witnessed growing up. When I was in school, teachers and lecturers that fall into this category. There is, thank you, Grace, for laughing. I don't know if you belong to one, but I'm going to read the third one. The talk and chalk teacher. What we are doing is that we are reflecting. So that as I'm saying this, start reflecting on your classroom. Sada Suleiman, you do lesson plan, beautiful. So start reflecting on your own classroom practice. How do I fall into this category? Now, the talk and chalk, just copy and write down. Don't ask me any question. I can't lie. During my first degree in the University of Lagos, Faculty of Education, Department of Art and Social Science, to be precise, English education to be precise, as a cohort, there was a particular lecturer, and if there's anyone, although the lecturer is retired now, from what I learned, if there's anyone who had gone through that cohort, you can attest to it, because there's no way you will not have gone through that lecturer. That lecturer brings out a book and you are forced to buy that book. But the worst part is that lecturer reads everything to you word for word. word for word. And I mean word for word, reads out everything in the textbook. Little explanation is done. When you ask question, then she goes back to that textbook and reads the same thing she has read out. So we have the talk and chalk. So the teacher who is always writing on the board. And as you're writing on the board, you're talking to yourself. So you are backing the board and you're writing. And you're writing. As you are writing, you're explaining, but you're not facing them. You still have them today, right? Laraba Solomon, please type the school, whichever school you think that is. Well, I know we had that at some point. I experienced that at some point. But then in schools, I realize that not everybody on this call is a classroom teacher, like a school teacher. You've got some people, you engage, you teach people, you pass knowledge, you interact. Even in your office, you may probably be doing trainings. So let's learn this too. Okay, thank you, Grace. I like that feedback. So let me read Grace's feedback. Grace says we do lesson plan, but it's for formalities. We are meant to explain the textbooks as students follow with their textbooks too. You see, these are realities. These are things for us to reflect on. Otherwise, if you don't, now you have learned something, but if you don't unlearn some of these things, there is no way you will relearn. Even in theological seminars, that's Joseph, thank you. Zeta said copy and paste teachers or lectures. We've got a lot of that, but we've got these teachers too. And I know in secondary school, we have some teachers that are always writing on the board. And as they are writing on the board, they're explaining at the same time, especially mathematics teachers. Many mathematics teachers practice this. So you have a math teacher who is solving on the board, and as he's writing, this material will probably be made available to you. So I may not necessarily go through all of this, but I want it to be practical. I want us to understand, to be something we can relate to. That's why I want feedback, and I want honest feedbacks. So we have some, thank you, yeah, Laraba, that's true, some still do it. We have some people, especially math teachers, that when they are solving questions, they are facing the board. So oftentimes people at the back can't hear them. Some teachers give students notes to copy. So these are the things. So you look at yourself, you ask yourself, oh yeah, sometimes in classes like for jam prep, it's not like always or all topics. I use lesson notes or plans. Beautiful. Lesson plan has been a useful teaching guide to me. You need lesson plan. We're going to see that in our reflective teaching strategies. But we are looking at things that we need to unlearn from, and so that we can relearn. So we have the talk and chalk board, talk and chalk teacher. Just copy what I write. Don't ask questions. And you see some students say, sir, I do understand. They say, shut up. Just write. It's because you're not paying attention. Then we have this one, the favorite student teacher. My star puppy, come and solve this problem. Yes, some of us are guilty of this, right? In that class, there is that student that is intelligent, and that's your favorite. Others are not, you don't care. So when you come to class, it's that student alone that you want to call. Just think about it. Just as I'm saying it, I want you to think about it. Because this is the reflective practice that we are putting into play. Yes, you will have access to it. I will make this material available. Okay, so you will have that kind of teacher who says, Bisola, come and explain this. Uche, yeah, come and solve this question. Oh, Jacinta, come, my favorite student. And then all other students, you don't engage them. You don't assess them. So my favorite teacher kind of people, you need to start assessing and start reflecting. Ask yourself, because sometimes the fact that your favorite student can answer that question does not mean that other students really understood what you're teaching. Your aim is that you want to make everyone to understand. There is also this set of people, the never-ending lecture teacher, never ending. So there is this one more thing. Okay, I want you to add one more thing. Always one more thing. Always, student no break. Sometimes this teaching, these things that you do may tire out your students. Of course, there is the outdated teacher, but let me talk about some of the, because we have some teachers, some itinerary teachers who engage with students one-on-one. So you are also this teacher that you engage students one-on-one. You engage on one-on-one class, like the home lesson teacher. For example, we run a company. I have an agency called the Last Home Tutors, which you may have read heard while I was reading. So where we supply home teachers or tutors to clients all around Lagos and outside Lagos, both virtual and physical. So we have some, of course, and I know some of the tutors are here. We have some tutors that what they do basically is that they engage children, learners to teach one-on-one. But in a bid to make the class very interesting, you have this teacher that is always telling stories. You have 2 hours class and you're spending 1 hour, 45 minutes teaching. You said because you want to make the class fun, because you want to make the class very interactive. There are so many comments here now that I can't keep up with. Oh, I like your feedbacks. Many of you are giving feedbacks here. I wish I'll read it. Oh, okay, some comments on YouTube. Okay, yeah, I'll go back and read the one on YouTube as well. You know, so the reality, some teachers are not masters of their field, unfortunately. So many comments. I like the comment and I want to read all the comments and I'll go back to this teaching, see what I can do. But I just want us to be realistic. Okay, let me see if I can just quickly check the YouTube so I can read 1 or 2 comments from YouTube as well. Some teachers, we have to be realistic with ourselves. We have to be realistic with ourselves. All right, so I'm sorry, I have to check the YouTube now. Okay, so I can see many comments. Oh wow, the YouTube is quite engaging as well. Okay, somebody said I don't belong to the second class. Wow, copy and write down, don't ask. Yes. Nope, I'm not like that. I know it all, teacher. Yes. Sir, it happened to me too when I was in the university, my degree to be precise. Wow, the lecturer did that too. For me, in my school, you must submit your lesson plan and records of work. Thank you. I believe Grace Giberson is head of school, a principal. Yes. And we keep looking at a never-ending lecturer. In my school, we submit lesson, the outdated teacher, the engaging teacher. Yeah, we have the outdated teacher, honestly. The teachers that are outdated, they're not reflecting. But how do you even know these things? The problem is, one of the greatest challenges, there are so many comments I can't keep up with, or even on YouTube, but keep it coming. As a historian, thank you for that. Rakia, Lotham, as a historian, I give too much stories. Are you a history teacher? Rakia, let me know that. Now, there is nothing wrong if the story you are giving is related to the topic you are teaching, the concept that you are teaching. But if it is not related, then you need to find what relates to the story you are teaching. So take, for instance, now, what I'm telling you, I've been telling you stories. I've been telling you stories of teacher. But you can see that the stories I'm telling you is related to reflective teaching, because it is, as I'm telling that story, you are reflecting. It's part of my lesson. Because a good teacher, an excellent teacher, must learn the act of storytelling. Storytelling makes your lesson interactive. It makes your lesson engaging. Because when you are teaching sometimes and it's not engaging, people tend to slip off. So yeah. Oh, you are a history teacher. So my question to you, Rakia, so you teach history. The stories you tell, are they related to the topics you are teaching? If they are not related, I want you to reflect on that and try to unlearn some things. Okay? I want you to reflect. Exactly, I did that too. Okay, picking favorite student, but I've stopped that long ago. Thank you, Chijioke. That was a beautiful and an honest response from you. Yes, you did that. So how do you unlearn some of these things? There are certain reflective practices you can engage in. There are so many classes of teachers that I can give. Classes of teacher. But let me just let's see if we can run through some of these things. Journaling. For those who have been trained as teachers, I know it's possible for you to have been taught this in teaching practice, during your teaching practice, journaling, you must be able to write your teaching experience to uncover insight and identify. And this part is tough. I would be honest with you. It is tough. Firstly, one of the toughest things teachers don't like doing is lesson plan, lesson note. So imagine if you don't like lesson note, after you manage to do lesson note, then I'm telling you to do journaling. Of course, it's going to be tough. But if you want to be an excellent teacher, oh, thank you. It also helps to develop higher order thinking of the student by telling related stories to them. Yes. Now, I am telling you, irrespective of the things I might teach you during this reflective class or what we are saying, I am telling you the truth that some of the stories I've just mentioned, some of you will be able to relate it. Some of you will remember because of this story. Is either what I've tagged it with, either the all-knowing teacher, the talk and chalk teacher, or lecture, the all I must finish over ambitious teacher. I must finish all my syllabus. I must definitely finish 10 chapters. I mean, you'll be able to relate it. And that's what I mean. Let your stories be relatable. But you must, so the first solution is journaling. Journaling is having a book, writing your experience. So what are the things you want to write in your journaling? In your journal? In your journaling, keep your lesson experiences. How many people even ask you a question after your class? Everybody just say, yes, sir. If they are saying yes, sir, try to find out why. And did you evaluate your class? There is what we call objective of class objective, entry behavior. So there's what we call class objective. Then there's what we call evaluation, and your evaluation is based on your objective. So if you're going to teach a topic, you have certain things that you want to achieve at the end of the class. And say by the end of this lesson, the student should be able to explain in detail. So when you are evaluating, after your class, do a journal. Did I evaluate? How many students were able to answer these questions? Time management. Did you focus on time management? Because some people too, it might be that, the time was up before they could start evaluating. So some people wait till the end of the class before they could evaluate their classes. Because evaluation is a process all through your class. There is also the peer observation. Invite colleagues to observe your lesson and provide valuable feedbacks. Talk to friends. Sometimes when you are leaving the classroom or the teacher's classroom, staff room, sorry, that's what I'm looking for. So evaluation by giving the student classwork, mathematics teacher, but that classwork, yes, very, very, very essential. By giving them classwork, so meaning that you have to put that in your time management. Thank you for that, Gada. So I was talking about peer observation. When you are leaving the staff room, ask which teacher that is not in class during that time. I mean, that doesn't have a period at that time. Tell the teacher to accompany you to a class. Form that kind of clique. Let that teacher just sit at the back. It's possible the student might want to be extra careful in that particular class. Just like we have that, thank you. That's another word for collaborative teaching. It's possible the student might want to be extra careful during that time, especially, when students see another teacher or an external body in class, just like what we do during teachers training. When you have the external body coming to examine you, the students want to be all best, be at their best. And it affects the language teacher a lot. Because in a language class, your class is not supposed to be completely quiet. But the students want to be quiet, so that you are not graded negatively. And everybody is in there. When they say, do you understand? Yes, sir. Everybody say, yes, sir. Yes, man. Yes, But, tell the student, don't worry, be free. It's just here to have fun. Let them be free so that you know that your class is in the natural mode. So practice the peer observation. You might not realize the relevance of some of these things. Remember I said that the 21st century learner must be able, just like having TOEFL rather, must be able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So you're trying to evolve over the time. Student feedback, gather input from students to understand their perspective and needs. There was something I did when I was leaving school, when I was leaving a particular, so end of the session, when we're leaving a particular name. So I bought a cardboard and we told students, give a comment about me. Negative, you don't need to write your name if you don't want to, Just give, whether negative, positive, let me know something. Just say something. You can do that too. You can practice that. And don't victimize any student when you do that. Because if you victimize them, now the fact that they don't write their names, I know some of us are very smart. We can identify by handwriting, by language, by their grammar. Say, it is John that wrote this one. This must be coming from Ayo. You know, so don't victimize anybody. You know, you done that right. Beautiful. Barnabas, let me know what the feedback was. These are part of reflective teaching. That's part of strategies you can put in place. Lesson plan is also a thoughtful way of, you know, putting some of those strategies in place. Now, what are the ways to overcome the reflective teaching barrier? Please let me read this comment. There's a comment here. He said, as a principal of my school, I do follow some teachers once in a while to class and assess them, which at the end of the day, I see with the teacher for corrections and adjustment. Who wrote this? This is a very beautiful one. God bless you for that. You know, like I said at the beginning of it, I said we're going to learn from one another. From, you know, let me read. I want to see who wrote that. Oh, Rakia, beautiful, Rakia. Beautiful. That's a beautiful one. Occasionally, we need to practice this. We need to practice, yes, equity and inclusion of the students in teaching without bias. You will see how this thing will help you out. You will see the improvement that you will get. There's a research done by Iwayemi Kayode, you know, the University of Hull, 2023. This is 2024. On reflective teaching, how reflective teaching can help EAP teachers. That's English for academic purpose teachers. And it was understood, the research shows, the findings show rather, that teachers who engage in reflective practices are better teachers, you know, and they improve in the subject matter, not just in pedagogy now, but also in subject matter. There was also a research that I did in 2013, 2013, 2014. You know, I did a research on reflective teaching as a means of improving teachers' competence. And the research also showed that teachers who engage in reflective practices have better results from students. Their students perform better. Now, let me say this to all teachers here. And this is because we did this research also to understand that, and there are lots of materials you can go on and do some researches on this. So the research has proven that reflective teacher is an effective tool to improving teachers' competence over the years. Teachers' competence. You want to improve your competency level, you need to practice reflective thinking. Don't forget, reflective thinking is going over your work. In the work, whilst you are doing it, as you are doing it, if you are teaching, if you are using a particular method and you think students are not getting it, on the spot, you must be spontaneous. You must be able to infuse or introduce another method. Now, have you looked at this? That when students fail, who is to blame? Please, let me even see that in the comment section. When students, now don't try to be all start acting only and say this is the person because you're trying to be, just be sincere. Let me get your honest response. Rakia said the teacher, okay. The teacher, okay. Who else? The teacher, so okay. Don't forget you're a teacher. Are you okay when parents blame you? The teachers and parents, thank you for that. Somebody, Balogun said teachers and parents. Somebody says student, Kasan, the teacher, good. So, please, I'm looking at the YouTube, so the teacher is to be blamed. We're supposed to go around the class while teaching so as to carry our students along. Students, parents, okay. So you can see that our responses, thank you for these responses, our responses differ. Some people say the teacher, some people say the student. We need to consider that children learn at different pace. Good. So some people say teacher, some people say parent, some people say student. But this is exactly what happens at the end of every session. To the extent that some people say that school is not good. So when a teacher fails or when a student fails, or a student is not, but when they say that teacher, that school, they are not good. I'm sure you've seen that. Okay, comments, beautiful comments. I like this engagement. It shows that we are really involved in this learning. You know, student don't student will say, oh, is the teacher. Teacher will say, oh, is the student. So student will say the teacher did not teach us well. Teacher will say the students are not reading. Then teachers also will say the parents are not ensuring that these students are reading. But if you look at all the responses, you are right in your own way. Depending on the context, depending on the circumstances, all of these factors. So you've mentioned the 3 factors that may determine success. But just like Piers Bamidele told us yesterday, he said there are 2 things that you should be concerned about or you should worry about: what you can control and what you can't control. If you can control, there are 2 things you shouldn't be worried about: what you can control and what you can't control. If you can control it, why worry? If you can't control it, why worry? You get the point now? So meaning that there are 3 factors. So let's look at it. Which one can you control? Which one can't you control? Reflective teaching will help you do that. Reflective thinking will help you do that. For those who do home lessons, in fact, the home lesson also is evident in this one-on-one interaction with teachers, with students. When you go to teach and your student doesn't do well, they say, oh, that teacher, please, I want you to change that teacher. I'm going to change that lesson teacher. The lesson teacher is not doing well. No. My lesson teacher is not doing well. But there might be an element of truth. Because don't forget, when I started, I said some teachers, the old cargo, who believe so much who rely only on experience and not innovations. Whereas you must rely both on experience and innovation in teaching. Innovation has to do with new ideas, updating yourself. Now, don't be afraid if you are wondering that this is just a slide I'm on. Like I said, I just want to be as practical as possible, and I should be bringing this to an end in the next 5 to 10 minutes so that you can ask questions. Now, if you look at it, you say everybody is to be blamed. But then what can you control? What can't you control? One of the things you can do, and I want to talk, you can go to class with a recorder. You can go and you can record your class. That's a way of reflecting, of evaluating yourself. Watch yourself, listen to yourself. You will be shocked to realize some of the things or the things you do and how you do the things you do. It will shock you. Because it is during the result, many teachers don't evaluate, they don't practice reflective teaching until during results, when blame time comes. That's when you start saying, maybe we should have. But reflection must be consistent and must be ongoing. That's why you do tests. Constant, continuous test. That's why you do constant test, continuous test. You must find, so somebody is saying as a teacher, you must find a problem in your teaching and try to rectify. I remember, so Laraba is saying something. So no matter how good you are, you definitely have students who are not just ready. So what do you do? Oh, that's a question. Please remind me this question when the question time comes in the next 10 minutes. Please, I want you to repose this question. But it's possible I may have answered it before that time. So I said, when this blaming game begins, what can you do before the blaming game? Because you are the teacher. You are regarded as the embodiment of knowledge, even though you know that knowledge is not resident in one person. That because as you are learning, there are different factors. You learn from your subject matter, which is the topic, because as you are learning, there are some things, as I'm talking now, there are some things I didn't plan to say, but I'm saying. There are some things I'm learning from your response, from your feedback that I'm also expanding on. So you learn, teacher, subject matter, student. But you are regarded as the author, the one who has the knowledge, the biggest knowledge of the whole thing. So what do? Reflective practice will help you. Ask yourself, in your classes, who are those who are not responding? Why are they not responding? Could it be your teaching method? Get feedbacks also from students. Get feedback, learn from colleagues, like those things that we have talked about. But some people also, they have issues. So maybe I will just, let me say this: time constraints, self-doubt, fear of vulnerability. These are part of the reasons some people don't even practice reflective thinking. This is part of the reason you don't practice reflective thinking. Because you see, there's no time. I need to prepare for the next class. If you don't prepare as a man thinketh, so is it. So if you don't prepare, you will just keep becoming the old cargo. Some people, the joke you even share in your class is a dry joke. Some things that the 21st century learners cannot relate to. Some old learners here. So what you teach, what you say, when you want to infuse jokes and you're just wondering why the students are looking at you despite the storytelling that you're trying to infuse into it. I remember when I was, because a lot also has to do with the teacher. I remember when I was in GSS class, mathematics was difficult. I was trying to understand. I couldn't understand what this teacher was teaching me. When I got, it was with struggle that I was able to just pass and got promoted, barely. But when I got to SS1, it was a different math teacher that came. This teacher would teach us a little. He will make joke. We will laugh. He will come back to the class again. Come back to the topic. Teach. He will make jokes and we'll laugh. He will give classwork and say, okay, let's do this. And he's giving us the classwork. He's making jokes and we're laughing. Somehow, I don't know, in my SS1 class, I became one of the best math students. One of the best. And this was somebody who was struggling with maths as at JSS2, JSS3. But when I got to SS1, I became, to the extent that when the man gives us an assignment or he gives us a work, I say, okay, submit before the end of today. You will see my fellow classmates coming to rush me before I start solving my own. They're asking me to help them with their own, explain theirs to them. A few of them who couldn't understand. So it means that your methodology also could affect the learner's reception, how receptive the learners will receive what you're learning, how well they're able to learn the concept you are teaching. So you must consider your pedagogy. Your pedagogical style must be evaluated. You must look at the style, the method. This method I'm using, do I need to improve on this? Is this working? Remember those methods that I mentioned, those things that we're laughing with the other time, those are some people's teaching strategies, method, the way they teach. Some people will just come to class, write on the board, whether they like it or not. Some people do like they are frustrated. They will spend in 45 minutes, like they will spend 25 minutes abusing you and abusing parents. If you are like that, because they are frustrated. So you need to re-examine you, and those things will affect your learners. Who says you cannot infuse video learning into your teaching? So your pedagogy matters. Fear of vulnerability. Some people too, they don't want to practice reflective teaching because they don't want to look vulnerable. So if I ask my fellow teacher to come to class now, or to view me, or I play, or I do a recording of my class, and I send it to somebody to evaluate, they will just be laughing at me. This one will not be controlling me. This one that just joined teacher, or that the level is lower compared to mine. That vulnerability. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. It is very, very key. So implementing reflective teaching, you have to set goals, which is what you do during your lesson plan. Create a lesson plan, make it a habit. It's not a one-time thing. It has to become a part of you. I told you, so the benefit of reflective teaching, I told you some of the researches, the findings from those researches. It helps students to even learn better. It makes them to look forward to learning. It also helps you as a teacher to keep improving. You will realize that you will enjoy your teaching skills, your teaching style. Incorporate AI into your teaching. AI, yes, artificial intelligence. So reflective teaching in action. Observe. Close monitor your teaching and student learning during lesson. So when you are teaching, I said that earlier, that reflection does not just happen only at the end. It's not only when you finish that you say, okay, let me put on journaling. That's why I said that you can even take a video of yourself. That's why as you are teaching, if you are using a method and they are not understanding what you are saying, or the class look too dull, just change to something. Improvise. If it involves you sharing a little joke, share. If it involves you calling a student and saying, oh yeah, you come out, come and explain this, you will realize that every other person will be at alert. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do regular assessment of your student as well. It's not the regular one where you say, do you understand? And everybody crosses, yes, sir, yeah, ma'am. Analyze, observe, close monitor. I remember when I was teaching, when I was doing, during my research, that research that I did with the reflective teaching, part of the instrument that I used was observation. I observe the teacher's classroom. So not just also looking at student performance, but I also observed the teachers while the teacher was teaching. And I looked at certain variables. I looked at time management. I looked at evaluative skills. I looked at pedagogical skills. These are things you can use, analyze, reflect on what went well, what could improve and why. Why? There are sometimes you go for a class and you yourself, you enjoy the class and you are sure that your students enjoy your class. Find out, what did you do differently today? When you want to go and say, don't go, auntie. Don't use the same method. Adapt, implement changes, and continuously refine your teaching approach. So don't be so predictable. So, experienced teacher, early career educator, department head, guiding team in using, and I thank God somebody said it during here, it's a guiding team in using reflection to enhance curriculum design. So, one of the principals said he goes to class sometimes to sit down with the teacher. And I can see YouTube commenters as well. Somebody also saying similar thing. So resources, online courses, reflective journals, peer network, video, books, these are resources you can use for peer network. You can see we've talked about many of these. And that's why I said, let's just be natural. Let's be natural. So embrace the power of reflection. My conclusion, the concluding paragraph here. Reflective teaching is a transformative practice that empowers educators to continuously evolve and excel. By embracing a reflective mindset, you can deepen your understanding, refine your teaching method, and inspire students to reach new heights. Start your reflective journal today and unlock the full potential of your practice. Okay, so basically what I want to say is that I want to believe that at the end of this lesson, you are willing now to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. You are willing to unlearn certain things and to start practicing reflective practices. All right, so I will entertain your questions now. Okay, so the first question here by Lawa Oluwafunmilayo. He said, as a primary school teacher that teaches all subjects, am I to reflect on all the subjects? As a primary teacher that teaches all subjects, am I to reflect on all the subjects? Yes, you reflect on all the subjects because it's all the subject. Basically, it depends on how you think about it. If you dedicate about 10 minutes or 15 minutes of reflection to your class or after teaching, and you said, okay, after teaching, after teaching and maybe after this session now, I go to my seat and I said, okay, yeah, today's class. It might not even take you more than 5 minutes, especially if it's something you practice regularly. After 5 minutes, you pen down and you look at it. So before your next class, you look at your previous, what you wrote down. So yes, you need to, because all the subjects are what will impact the student. Do you understand? I don't know if I've answered that question directly. Yes, please, sir. Hope we will be able to get a recorded class. The network here is not that okay. Okay, yeah, Thomas. You'll find it on YouTube after this class. What can you do with a child that is not ready, no matter your effort? I can't shy away from this possibility, from the question that Oluwakemi has just asked. We can't shy away from the possibility that there are some students that look like they are not ready. It's possible that it may not be that the child is not ready. It might be that the child does not connect to that teacher. So do a bit of observation. Make your findings. Find out if that challenge is peculiar with you, with that child and you, or that problem that is peculiar with all the subject or all this with all other teachers. If it is you, you might need to then start asking, okay, what is it? What is the problem? Okay. If it's a one-on-one class, if it's just a like private teacher and you think this student is not ready, find out why. Because everyone has a weak point, meaning that there must be something that interests somebody. There must be something that is of interest to you. So find out what is of interest to that child. Some student might be playing of games. And some students, there are some things, might be background issues that you just see them reflecting in class. So please, who asked that question? You might need to do a bit of engagement, have some engagement with that. Because yeah, there are some people too like that who may show that possibility. So I want to see. What can we, sorry, I'm reading the chat. Okay, yeah. Oluwakemi is the one who asked the question. What do you do with a child that is not ready no matter your effort? Please find out from that child. Find out your approach. It could be that you are too soft. That's another thing. You know, I don't know if this is a one-on-one, but for you to say a child, I don't know if it's a classroom stuff or just one-on-one. If it's a classroom, call the child you can recommend the child for counseling. If it's a one-on-one class, maybe you are too soft or maybe you are too tough. So the child does not find that class interesting. Do you understand? That may be the case. So many questions. How do you handle a class with 30% slow learners? Wow. Who asked that? Imam Simiat. Wow. 30% slow learner. That means you're already in a special school. You know? So for that, if it's a school, for that, it might be, so I think the sacrifice also might need to come from you. I remember some of the things I did also at some point. Maybe I didn't have this much problem of 30% lower student, but there were some students that I reckon who were slow in learning. Those kind of students, I gave them extra time. When I say extra time, I could call them for extra classes in school. I could give them extra work aside what I'm giving to students to the general students so that they can keep up with the pace. So it might depend on you. I mean, it depends on that situation. If you have 30% lower, you might need to go the extra mile because you need to reflect. That means they can't all learn at the same pace and at the same level. So if they can't learn at the same pace, that means those ones you might need to find an extra time for them. And if it's a school where you can request for extracurricular activity or extra time, do that. And may I also say this, just as you know that learners differ, that's also how method of learning differ for learners. So this 30%, maybe when you engage them one-on-one, try to observe, it's also about observation. Try to observe how best they learn. It could be the style of learning that is different that makes this whole thing look like 30%. I don't know if that is clear, Imam. Yage, after the reflection and there is no time to retake the lesson because one is bound by scheme of work, what should a teacher do, please? Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, so my response may still go back to this same answer that I've given. Because, teachers, we have this desire that our learners also should be better. It's the joy of every teacher that your tutees or your learners, your students, are doing well. So what you might do, you can speak to the school authority. to give you an extra time. I've seen schools, especially there are some topics, there are some subjects that the topics, especially those subjects like biology, they have bulky syllabi. So most times you have some of the teachers meeting the school, or chemistry, you see the teachers asking the school authority that they want to organize an extra class. So you may also go down, go that lane of requesting for an extra class. Because the aim shouldn't just be about, let me complete my syllabus. All right. Thank you, sir, for the answer. All right, you're welcome. Can we get sample of, yeah, you will. Okay, sorry. Can we get sample of reflective journal? Yeah, there are sample online. Just type it online. Yes, thank you. Who asked that question? Oh, the name is not there. Xiaomi, who uses a phone. Yes, there are sample online. Please just Google online. But remember, it's not just journal you use. You can observation is also part of the way. Video is also part of the way. Recording is also part of the way. So there are many reflective strategies you can use. So don't limit it to journal. But journal is very, very essential. Please, sir, can we have the lecture notes here at the end of the session as a backup? Yes, I said this will be made available. What if such situation or problem is peculiar with the student? What if such situation or problem is peculiar with the student? All right, so if it's peculiar, still the same thing I've said, you need to find out how to go best handling that student specially. It's what I've done before, and that's also what I'm sharing this idea with you. You can call such student, since it's not generic, call such student and help that student personally. We are molders. So yeah. What if you have a special child in your class whose parents refuse to accept the reality? You still do the same thing. Call that child, try to help the child on your own. You just might need, because for special children, they might need to do more than what others are doing. That's the truth. They might need to do more. So what you will explain in 10 minutes and it will be understood, you might need to explain, you might spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes for a special child. And you can't say because of that, you're going to spend 30 minutes explaining what you should explain in 10 minutes in a general class. So call them aside. Have a special time with them. We are molding destinies. Okay. Kufre said, can you give us a practice case study for an on-the-spot reflection while a teaching is ongoing? Yes, I can. So let me use I don't teach math, but let me use English as an example. So for instance, you are teaching a particular topic in English, or you're teaching a topic in any subject. And then as you are teaching the topic, you just realize that every time you are asking them, do you understand? They say, yes, sir. Do you understand? Yes, sir. But when you ask a particular question, nobody can answer. You've asked a generic, do you understand? They say, yes. All right. So you decide to ask a specific, can somebody answer this particular one? And nobody is answering. And you ask them, do you understand? They say, yes, sir. So it means that is already a problem, right? That's a problem. So what do you do? What you do for that case is that you may either look at the way you are explaining that method. So it's either you simplify the method, or you can do what we call role playing. Role playing may be that you call people out and you illustrate with people so as to make your style of teaching pictorial. So that it can be imaginative for them. It can be something that they can see. So, when they see an illustration, when they see it being acted out, when they see it being practicalized, or it's inclusive. Because sometimes what we also do is that we do all the talking And we just say, okay, do you understand? Yes. But in the process where you get the student involved, you call somebody out. If, for example, you are saying x plus y equals -2, you now say, okay, John, come out. John, this is x. You call Emmanuel, come. Emmanuel is y. If you call those two people out, there's a possibility that even the student you called out will never forget. And the student will likely, when they see you with that illustrations, they also may remember by virtue of the people you used to illustrate. So think on or on the spot is just a matter of improvising, changing your pedagogical skills or your style of teaching. I don't know if that is understood. So what the age of the child is our focus of discussion. Okay, reflective practice is not limited to any age. So reflective process teaching is mainly for teacher. It's to help teachers' method of teaching. That's why it's not even limited to the formal education. As long as you engage in communication, you are training, you are dealing with people, you can practice reflective teaching. So you ask yourself, how did my presentation go? What do you think about it? So sometimes, I preach. So sometimes when I'm done preaching, I'm invited to a place, I might ask, how are you? Hope it was okay. And they say, oh, yeah, it was okay. All right, thank you. And sometimes I go back to listen to what I've preached or what I've said or what I've taught. Sometimes I'm also called to seminars. I may have some seminars like we have now, like trainings. Like this teaching, I may still listen to it when I'm free. I will listen to everything. So yes, that's what it will mean. So it's not limited to any age group. It's about teachers' assessment, self-assessment. Because if you're able to deliver it well, your learner also will improve. A child not showing interest in the example given before. So basically, let's just say anybody who is not showing interest, just communication also works. Anybody who is not showing interest. So I may not be able to answer the many questions. There are so many questions coming. How do you engage a new class as a new teacher? How do you engage a new class as a new teacher? Okay, Vincent. Vincent is saying, how do you engage a new class as a new teacher? Just come with your own style. So your class must be fun. I should be bringing this to a close any moment from now. I remember when I was teaching in a school at some point, when I entered the class, so, students will say, oh, stand, greet, good afternoon, sir. God bless you, sir. So they are supposed to sit down, but I will tell you, don't sit down. I'm beginning to examine that all of you in this class, there's something that I noticed, and I will look serious in my conversation. So after greeting, I'm telling you what I did, and it became fun eventually. You just say, I said, I've observed that in this class, most of you, there's something that you've been doing. You've been doing something that have come to my notice, and I must tell you today. At that time, everybody is looking serious, and all attention is on me. And they are wondering. Don't forget that when you came into the class, some people will sluggishly stand up. Some people may not even stand up until you look at them and your gaze catches them. That's when they will quickly stand up to greet you. So, but what I do, I have all of my class, and then it became something. So I'll just make that statement. Say, all of you have noticed something. And I want to tell you today that no matter what I tell you, no matter what you may hear, it doesn't matter. Please have your seat majestically. God is able. And all of them will. So at the first instance, they were all looking at me. They thought I wanted to say something very serious. Maybe there was an issue. And then I just came up with that silly thing that makes nothing. So some of them ended up giggling and saying, oh my God, oh, this man. And then they sat down. Some were wondering, what's this? Then I just go and say, good morning, everybody. And I go on with the normal class. Then when I come again the next class, I repeat the similar thing, but there's a particular phrase that when I've said all those serious things, I'll just say, it doesn't matter what I tell you. What matters is today is going to be a beautiful, maybe that's the usual phrase. You may please sit down majestically. God bless you. Sorry, no, I don't say God bless, I just say God is able. And then everybody sits down. So over time, the students, when I come to class, over time, all of us, we echo it together. So as I'm saying it, they are saying it alone. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what they're saying. Please, you may sit down majestically. That was fun. So that was a way for me engaging my class that whatever the tiredness you've been experiencing, no matter, and sometimes in order to improvise so that it doesn't look all too monotonous, I can come into the class and say, you come here. Maybe some people that didn't stand up quickly, I said, you come here, stand up. You think I'm joking with you? Yes, now you. Aha, the three of you come out. You see, I have told you several times, these people must be, you are taking me for granted. You are taking, all right, it doesn't matter what I tell you. And I just go on to do it, and it just lighten the mood for the day. So it depends on how you want to introduce or how you want to engage your own class. It depends on, so in a way, it makes my student even ready for the class. It makes them excited for the class, but you can improvise. Sorry, there are so many questions that I can't take. So I'm going to take the last question. This is the last question I'm going to take, then I'll probably check the YouTube so that I don't leave them out. As a teacher in accounting for secondary school students, how do I manage my scheme when I'm expected to finish the scheme? The duration given is often not enough to effectively deliver. Wow, so sorry about that. So sorry about that. It's not enough to deliver. That's Momodu or Yakilome. So sorry about that. Well, I think the response to that is what I said initially. You may need to reach out to the school. Teachers make sacrifices. So you may need to reach out to the school and ask them to give you additional time so that you can teach and be able to cover up for those classes, maybe during the extra curriculum, and explain things. And make sure you are also the type of teacher who doesn't waste time, because the truth is some teachers come to class and they spend more of the time on what does not relate to the class. Okay, all right. So this is the last question, and it's coming from the YouTube page. What do you do with a child or student whom foundation is not good? Please help that child to rebuild that foundation. Help that child to rebuild that foundation. You can first, counseling is key. Second, you can take interest. That's Chijoke asking that question. You can take personal interest in that child. Yeah. And if need be, the child needs to repeat, let the child repeat so that the foundation is rebuilt. There is no point building on a faulty foundation. So that's what I'll say to that. I've observed that, so I'm not answering any question again, but this is a comment. Oh, please, that's not a comment, that's actually a question. Sorry, I won't be able to answer that. The worst profession to take on when you are frustrated is teaching, because it will further pass on frustration to your student. Thanks for enlightenment, sir. God bless you. Even though I don't know your name is not showing here. Yes, thank you. Sorry, I won't be able to take other questions today. But Yakubu said, I've observed of recent that exam malpractice and syndrome in Nigeria are negatively affecting teaching and learning, particularly the aspect of learners' interest. Therefore, as a teacher, how can one undo this? Well, that problem is not limited to teachers, but since we are in teachers training and we have to limit it to teachers, I think it's also about us creating value for education. When we make people understand that there is value for education, then the perspective people have for it will change. There must be value. People must see value in education. That's the truth. There's a lot I want to say, but that's another topic entirely. But that has to do with integrating technology into our teaching. You see, the world is changing. The world is changing. The face of education is changing. And unfortunately, in Nigeria, we have not come to accept some of those changes. We are not prepared yet. As a teacher, I'm challenging you today. Start preparing yourself. AI is a tool because you see, the student you are giving assignment, they are not doing your assignment, it's AI. Don't completely blame them. Don't shut it off. That's why I said maybe that's a topic. That's anyway, our teachers. Okay, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for today. Thank you so much. I think we've done enough. I want to thank you. So I want to end with this quote again, with the two quotes. As a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. How are you thinking, especially about your teaching classes? As a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. So you must be able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. I want to thank you for having me today and for making the class very, very interactive. I've enjoyed today, but I want to please ask, I hope you've enjoyed the class. I hope it's been impactful. I hope you've learned something that you can practice, something you can improve on, and something that is you feel you can work on. If you have, I want to see that in the chat box why I make the announcement that I want to make. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. And for those on YouTube as well, I want to see your comment as well. For those of you on YouTube, so that I know you are not left behind. Okay, thank you. What an excellent class. Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. So I want to thank you again. And we have two more classes. The classes are on Saturday and Sunday. The next classes are by 5 p.m., 5 p.m. You need to attend the classes because you see the questions that will be asked, because there will be an assessment at the end of this training, and it is those who score 60% that will be able to get, that will be able to get a certificate. I also want you to know that most of the questions will be based on what you have learned here. So it's not, so meaning that that's how we also ensure that if you don't have the class, then there is no way you can pass that test. And we're also noting those who have been really been engaging in the class. So we've got series of training that will be LIBL Academy. Please, if you're not on if you're on YouTube, you can follow us on YouTube. Just subscribe to our channel on YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Is LIBL Academy. LIBL Academy. Please subscribe to LIBL Academy and follow us. Turn on notification so that you can be aware of further trainings. We just finished a training. I know some of the people that register for the training are here, and some of the people that register for the training, they are here, and we have more people as well that are here. So we have another training coming up after teachers training, but we'll let you know in the last day of this training. I know some of you have younger ones, you have children, you have students. So we have teenagers training coming up. It's also a 1-week training. There are teenagers who will send a flyer so that you can send it to your school, to your classes, to your students, to your children, to your siblings. Let teenagers also come and benefit. It's also free. It's a free training. You also get certificate of attendance at the end of the training. So thank you. In lieu of that, please, I'd like to encourage that you should please ensure that you join your class early. Sorry. You need to join your class early so that we are sure to start also on time. All right. Without further ado, I would like to say, enjoy your week. God bless you. Thank you for joining today's class. Bye-bye. See ya. God is able. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.